You've been carrying a belief your entire life without even realizing it. A belief that quietly shaped your decisions, your confidence, and the way you see yourself. And today, I want to expose that belief because it might be the very thing keeping you from stepping into the life that's meant for you. Here it is. You're not lost. You're not late. And there is nothing wrong with you for not having your purpose figured out yet. The truth is far simpler and far more powerful. You are still becoming the person capable of living the life you want. If this resonates with you already, subscribe so you don't miss the next videos that will guide you deeper into this transformation. Most people grow up being told two lies. The first one, that they'll never amount to anything. Maybe it wasn't said directly. Maybe it was a subtle tone, a disappointed look, a comment thrown at the wrong time. And the second lie, that you can be anything you want. It sounds inspiring, but it creates silent pressure. The pressure to know your purpose at 16, at 20, at 30, at 40. The pressure to choose one path and somehow be instantly right. But the truth is you can't be anything you want. You can be everything you already are. Purpose isn't a destination you arrive at. It's something you assemble piece by piece, through moments you don't even realize are shaping you. I've met countless people who whisper the same fear. I'm behind. They say it at 20. They say it at 30. They say it at 50. But purpose doesn't follow a schedule. It doesn't arrive on your birthday or after a perfect plan. Purpose grows as you grow. It takes shape through your experiences, your failures, your curiosity, your struggles, your resilience, your healing. It forms quietly in the background while you're busy thinking you're stuck. You see, we've been taught to chase clarity as if it's an instant moment. But clarity is collected. Imagine your life as a series of dots, conversations, passions, heartbreaks, talents, instincts, ideas, mistakes. Purpose isn't any single dot. It's the line that forms when you finally connect them. And you can't connect dots you don't have yet. That's why you never feel late when you truly understand this. You're simply in the middle of collecting. Many people believe there's only one path to purpose and that someone else has already found it, perfected it, and packaged it into a formula. But there isn't one path. There are four. And when you understand them, you stop searching for who you're supposed to be and start noticing who you already are. The first path is pain. Not because pain defines you, but because pain reveals what matters to you. Some of the most purposeful people in the world didn't choose their mission. Their mission was born from something they survived. They felt a pain so real, so personal, so unforgettable, that they couldn't stand the idea of anyone else facing it alone. Maybe you've been there. Maybe there's a wound you turned into wisdom. Maybe there's a story you buried because it hurts too much to remember. But that story might be the key to your calling. The second path is potential. The abilities you haven't fully acknowledged. The way your mind works when you're not trying to impress anyone. The things that come naturally to you, but you overlook because they don't feel extraordinary. Most people underestimate their potential because it feels too familiar. But purpose often hides inside what feels ordinary to you and extraordinary to others. You discover it by exploring, experimenting, trying things without expectation, letting yourself be a beginner again. When you sample widely, you find patterns. And those patterns reveal strengths you didn't know you had. The third path is a problem you feel drawn to solve. Not necessarily one you experienced yourself, but one you simply cannot ignore. The suffering of others. The injustice you can't unsee. The environmental issue that bothers you on a level you can't logically explain. The truth is your compassion is a compass. It pulls you toward the places where your presence matters. And finally, the fourth path is your platform, everything you've already built. even if you think it was a mistake. Your education, your job, your past roles, your relationships, your failures, your successes, all of it can become a foundation for something meaningful. Nothing is wasted. Your platform is proof that even the chapters that felt wrong at the time can become the reason you're capable of helping someone else someday. By the end of this series, you will understand your purpose not as a mystery you chase, but as a structure you build. Not as a role you search for, but as a truth you uncover. You are not behind. You are simply in the middle of becoming. And that's exactly where you're supposed to be right now. There is a moment in everyone's life when they quietly ask themselves a question they're afraid to say out loud. What if I'm meant for more, but I never become it? That question creates a pressure that slowly eats away at your confidence. You start comparing your path to people who look like they've figured it out. You scroll through their achievements and wonder why clarity came to them but not to you. But let me tell you something you've never been told loud enough. The people you compare yourself to didn't find clarity. They created it. Through repetition. Through failure. Through trying more things than you think you're allowed to try. And through giving themselves permission to evolve. Purpose doesn't come to the most talented. It comes to the most curious. Curiosity is what keeps you alive when everything feels uncertain. Curiosity is what opens the door to opportunities you didn't even know existed. And the moment you choose curiosity over comparison, your entire life shifts. Most people don't feel lost because they lack direction. They feel lost because they're forcing themselves into an identity they've outgrown. Who you were 5 years ago cannot lead you into who you are becoming now. There's a reason you feel this inner tension, the sense that where you are isn't where you're meant to stay. That tension is not a threat. It's an invitation. An invitation to step into a version of yourself that you've been avoiding because it feels too big, too bold, too unfamiliar. Growth feels uncomfortable because your nervous system is wired to protect you, not evolve you. It wants safety. You want expansion. And every meaningful transformation happens in the space between those two desires. You see, most people sabotage their purpose long before they ever discover it. Not because they're incapable, but because they're waiting for permission. Permission to start. Permission to change their mind. Permission to leave a path that no longer feels aligned. But purpose doesn't require permission. It requires participation. You participate by showing up imperfectly, by taking the smallest possible step every day, by making decisions that match who you want to be, not who you used to be. One of the biggest lies people believe is that purpose feels like certainty. It doesn't. Purpose feels like alignment. Certainty is a feeling that comes from what you've already mastered. Alignment is a feeling that appears when you're moving towards something that matches your truth, even if you don't fully understand it yet. Alignment doesn't eliminate fear. It simply makes fear irrelevant. Because when something is meant for you, your soul recognizes it before your mind does. Think about the moments in your life when you felt deeply alive, not happy, not excited, but alive. Those moments hold clues. They show you what direction your energy naturally flows. They reveal the environments where your mind opens, where ideas find you, where your intuition becomes louder. Most people try to think their way into purpose. But purpose is something you feel first and explain later. The fact that you're listening to videos like this already reveals something important. You're becoming aware of the gap between your potential and your current reality. And awareness is the beginning of transformation. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of your hesitation, a version with more clarity, confidence, calmness, and inner power than you've ever experienced. But you won't meet that version by staying where you are. You meet them by making choices that match the life you want, even when the life you have feels familiar and safe. Familiarity is not fulfillment. Safety is not purpose. And comfort is not your destiny. At some point in the next chapters of your life, you'll look back at this exact moment and understand that nothing was random. Not the confusion, not the delay, not the uncertainty, not the unanswered questions. They were all preparing you, shaping you, strengthening you, aligning you. You're not late. You're not lost. You're learning the language of your own becoming, and before this chapter ends, hear this clearly. You don't need to know the whole path to take the first step. The universe never reveals the entire journey. It only reveals what you're ready to handle. Every time you choose courage over comfort, the path expands. Every time you trust the whisper inside you, the next step appears. And every time you act in alignment with who you want to be, your future shifts in ways you can't predict yet. The life you want is not waiting. It's responding. Responding to your courage. Responding to your effort. Responding to your willingness to grow. Purpose isn't found. It's activated. And yours is already calling you quietly, consistently, and unmistakably. You just have to answer. There comes a moment when you realize that the life you're chasing is not somewhere far ahead of you. It's hidden inside the choices you make today. Not next year. Not when you feel ready. Not when circumstances finally become perfect. Today. Because the truth is, most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they wait. They wait for a sign. They wait for clarity. They wait for the fear to disappear. But fear doesn't disappear. You simply outgrow it. You outgrow it by acting before you feel prepared, by stepping forward when your mind is telling you to stay where it's safe. Your mind is designed to protect you, not expand you. It will always choose the familiar pain over the unfamiliar possibility. It will tell you to stay small because small feels predictable. But your soul? Your soul wants more. It wants expression. It wants expansion. It wants to experience what your life could be if you stopped negotiating with your potential. Every time you silence that inner pull, you disconnect from the person you were meant to become. Every time you ignore your intuition, you delay the life that's already trying to reach you. And here's something most people never understand. Your future is not created by motivation. It's created by identity. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your self-belief. That's why repeating the same thoughts leads to the same choices. And the same choices lead to the same outcomes. Transformation begins when you stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "Who do I need to become?" Because once you shift the identity, the actions follow effortlessly. Think about it. Confidence isn't built by waiting for evidence. Confidence is built by becoming the kind of person who follows through. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself. It's about aligning your actions with your future, not your feelings. And purpose? Purpose emerges when your daily decisions start matching the vision you secretly hold inside. If your vision is big but your daily habits are small, you create an emotional war inside yourself. And that internal conflict is what drains your energy, not the work itself. But the moment you choose alignment over excuses, your internal world stabilizes. You stop chasing results and start embodying the person who naturally creates them. Alignment doesn't mean you'll feel energized every day. It means you'll act in alignment even on the days you don't. That consistency is what rewires your subconscious. That consistency is what tells your mind, "We are becoming someone new." And the subconscious always follows repetition, not intention. Here's the part nobody talks about. Transformation is lonely at first. Not because you're alone, but because you're becoming someone others don't fully recognize yet. You start noticing that certain conversations drain you. Certain habits no longer feel good. Certain environments feel too small. And certain people around you feel threatened by your growth, not because they don't love you, but because your evolution forces them to confront their own stagnation. But this loneliness isn't a sign to stop. It's a sign that you're transitioning into a higher version of yourself. The universe has a pattern. It removes what can't go with you before giving you what belongs to you. It creates space before it creates blessings. And while that space can feel uncomfortable, it's also sacred. It's a recalibration, a reset, a preparation for the next level that your old self could never handle. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. And every time you think you're failing, remind yourself of this. Growth doesn't always look like success. Sometimes growth looks like confusion. Sometimes it looks like doubt. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening, even though everything is shifting internally. But the inner shift always comes before the outer change. Always. Your nervous system needs time to adjust to the version of you that your future requires. There's a future version of you who wakes up with clarity, who trusts themselves deeply, who makes decisions without fear, who attracts opportunities effortlessly because their energy is aligned with their direction. That version of you is not imaginary. It's the real you, unblocked, unconditioned, unafraid. You're not creating that version. You're returning to it. And here's the truth most people avoid. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not filled with excitement. It's filled with repetition. Repeating the habits that your future self relies on. Repeating the mindset that your next chapter demands. Repeating the boundaries that protect your peace. Repeating the decisions that signal to the universe, I'm ready. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you wish for, it responds to what you embody. When your actions match your intention, reality bends. Paths open. People appear. Opportunities find you. Not because you're lucky, but because you're aligned. And alignment is the most powerful frequency you can carry. Before this part ends, I want you to remember this. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not lost. You are becoming. And one day soon, you'll look at your life and realize that everything you once feared was simply the doorway to everything you ever wanted.